Hey everyone, quick tip, be sure to click on the little gear icon. That's the settings feature on YouTube, and under quality of the video, play this on 4K if at all possible, but whatever your internet speed is, play it on the highest quality that your internet speed will support.
Hey everyone, if you are interested in a narrated driving tour showing you an overview of some Corvallis neighborhoods for the sake of example, stay tuned. This will be a long video, probably an hour and 15 minutes, and we're going to take you all through some example neighborhoods throughout the 4 quadrants of town. If you'd like, we will also do some video showing detailed, in-depth tours of specific neighborhoods, and that'll come to follow. So I'm Micheal Krasilovsky of Team K Realty out at RE/MAX in Corvallis, Oregon, and let's go for a drive. All right, so we are starting the tour in downtown Corvallis. It's a beautiful sunny Sunday afternoon in September, and this tour is really geared towards like my corporate relocation clients and their families, for example, because I very frequently pick people up in downtown Corvallis at the Holiday Inn and show them around town while they're here interviewing for a job, and then they go back to some other state and decide if they even want to move here. So this is meant to be a resource for folks such as my corporate relocation clients and just anyone else who's out of the area and wants to get a feel for Corvallis a little bit more. All right, so we are downtown. We're going north on 3rd Street at the moment, and 3rd and 4th Street are basically Highway 99 unzipped like a zipper in downtown. So these are 2 of the busiest streets in the area. And right now, college students are starting to show up. So for example, there's a driver going the wrong way down a one-way street because not everyone knows how this downtown works. But once you get used to it, it's pretty easy. Off to the right, we've got a free public parking lot by the Dairy Queen. Off to the left, we've got Block 15 Brew Pub, Tokyo Steakhouse, great sushi and hibachi there. So many local restaurants and shops downtown in Corvallis. It's fantastic. There's local furniture stores like Inkwell, Coriander, Asian Fusion, Mini Hands Trading Gift Shop, lots of sporting goods store, just all sorts of stuff. Evergreen Indian. You know, this is a great place to be if you're really into just supporting a local economy with a cute, walkable downtown. It's fantastic. It's a dream. I love being here. So what we're going to do is we're going to squiggle up and down a few of these downtown streets, and then we'll punch out and go towards some neighborhoods. Also, a big shout out and thank you to family friend Chance Olafson of Cascara Films LLC for all of his drone aerial videography that you're going to see in this video, as well as my team member Cody Thomas for his tireless efforts in editing these videos that you're seeing, which have taken months for some of these longer projects. Really appreciate you guys. All right, so right now we are facing east on Van Buren. That's the 1-lane bridge going out of downtown towards I-5. And coming the other way right next to us is Harrison, the 2-lane bridge coming into downtown. What you're going to see in downtown, again, are just lots of little local shops and restaurants. There's great support for entrepreneurship in this area, and despite what the Portlandia reputation might be, it's not pretentious because it's not the sort of thing where you're actually like, oh, I want to eat this chicken salad, let me go visit the chicken's coop and make sure it was happy before I order it off the menu. It's just that we have lots of local agriculture, lots of local small businesses, not a lot of big chains. Great brew pubs, Sky High Brewing, Peak Sports, Laughing Planet has excellent vegetarian, vegan options there. Great little dim sum place. Sporting goods stores, Peak Sports, Oregon Tea and Coffee Company, and lots of great places to just go grab a bite. On the left right here, we've got the Majestic Theater, which is a performing arts center. That's one of the many places that you can go see a performance or a show. And just a really friendly, walkable, bikeable downtown. Flat-tailed brew pubs off to the left as well. Off to the right, we've got American Dream Pizza with great rooftop dining when it's warm out. My friends Olafson Designs, fantastic local custom jeweler. Good Morning Bakery, or New Morning Bakery, excuse me, and local bookstores, shoe stores, furniture stores. We're going to turn here. This is the post office coming up on the right. So that's a good benchmark, good place to be aware of in downtown. And we're going to go north for a moment on 1st Street First is adjacent to the Willamette River, and it's pronounced Willamette. So you'll see t-shirts that say, "It's Willamette, damn it," to help people remember. And it's Oregon, not Oregon, even though I grew up playing the Oregon Trail video game. Off to the right, what you'll see here, flanking First Street and in between us and the Willamette River, is that there's this great paved walking path, biking path. And it is late 2020. We're still during the global health crisis. You're going to see people wearing masks, so that kind of dates this video, but oh well. This bike path connects all the way into Southtown, goes all the way over into Southwest Corvallis, and then punches over even into Philomath, the neighboring town, and goes all the way up and over a couple different ways. I would say that Corvallis doesn't actually have a super extensive paved bike system like this because it doesn't need to. It is a nationally ranked gold level bicycle friendly community because the transportation infrastructure is just everywhere. There's bike racks on the buses, there are slow speed limits and bike lanes all over the place. It's really easy to bike commute and be a recreational cyclist here. In the spring and summertime, on Saturdays and Wednesdays, this whole spot right here is all taken up by the farmers market. In the wintertime, it does reopen for a while in the Benton County Fairgrounds in West Corvallis. And off to the right here, it's closed at the moment. There's people sitting around it, but on a normal hot summer day, you would see kids playing in the fountain there. Fantastic local dining here, just lots of local businesses to support. It's excellent. All right, we are reconnecting with 3rd Street here for a moment. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take this and then hop on over to 4th Street, which again is just Highway 99 unzipped, but going south. If we wanted to keep going from here to the north side of town, these two reconverge, they meet back up and gives you a shortcut to North Corvallis, which is all of 5 minutes north of this particular spot. The whole way parallel to that, 99, you have 9th Street, which is where there's a lot of retail, commercial, and shopping stuff. You can't really see it past the Verizon shop up here, but McMinimans is another excellent local brew pub. McMinimans has 2 locations in Corvallis. They have a downtown location here, as well as a campus location. One of the great things about being in this particular college town is that you've got the energy, the vibrancy, the arts, and economic stability of being in a university town, but you don't feel like you're actually surrounded by college students all the time in downtown because they have a lot of stuff going on campus. There's a McMinimans in downtown, there's a McMinimans on campus. There's a Downward Dog pub in downtown, there's a Downward Dog on campus, for example. American Dream Pizza downtown, American Dream Pizza on campus. There's the fire station. Up ahead, you can see the Corvallis courthouse, the Benton County Courthouse. That is the county seat, and it is the symbol of the town. So it's very iconic. You'll see that on a lot of signage. And we're just crossing over Van Buren again right here. It's a lovely September day as we do this. Coming up on the left, there is the Corvallis Brewing Supply store. They've got lots of brewing supplies, but also lots and lots of bottled beers and wines, a lot of which is local. And also off to the left, we've got the Whiteside Theater across from the Dark Side Cinema, Whiteside Dark Side. Whiteside Theater is a great venue to see a band play or a movie, and Dark Side Cinema is a small, independent, kind of little rickety movie theater, great little place too. We've also got normal movie theaters if you're into, traditional cinema, of course. Okay, so this is gonna start looking like a highway, and again, we are on Highway 99. 1 block over is 5th Street, and we're gonna skip 5th Street because we can only do so much in this particular driving tour, but just a stone's throw from here, we've got the City of Corvallis Public Library, which is an excellent facility right across the street from Central Park, one of about 35 large public green spaces in the City of Corvallis. If you go on the Parks and Rec website, by which I mean the City of Corvallis, Park and Rec website, not the TV show, you'll notice that there's almost 50 spaces named, 35 or so of which are large. Oh, La Roquita right here. Might have to stop at La Roquita after this for a super grande burrito that's the size of a football with homemade salsas made in-house every day. Love that place too. By the way, this video is not sponsored, but I want to give shout outs to places that I want you to know about. All right, if we went off to the right, we would be going on to Philomath Boulevard, also known as 34, and you can see signs for the coast. It's an hour away. You don't even have to take a single turn. But it's also basically just a shortcut to Southwest Corvallis. We're going to keep punching south and go into Southtown, Southeast Corvallis right here, and then we'll reconnect back with that in just a few minutes. As we enter Southtown, up ahead onto the left, the gray and green building, you can see the Southtown location of the First Alternative Foods Co-op. It is an excellent local grocery store. They have hundreds of local products. Love that place. They also have a hot foods bar. You can go there and have lunch. There's a Southtown and a North location as well, and I'm sure we'll mention that later. All right, so in Southtown, you've got 3rd and 4th reconvened, and this is Highway 99. If you keep driving south about 45 minutes to an hour later, you end up in Eugene, Oregon, and this is one of 3 different ways I would say to go to Eugene. Not my favorite, but it works. And Southtown's got a big mix of housing. You've got some pretty affordable housing, as well as some pretty new housing as well, and all kinds of stuff in between. So as we drive down 99, you'll see that there's a lot of commercial and even some light industrial zoning off to the sides. And Southtown, my understanding is that this is where the expansion happened way back when in Corvallis. So the zoning doesn't feel quite as tight, and Southtown's got kind of a neat, funky, hippie, in a good way, vibe to some of the neighborhoods. There's a lot of chicken coops and gardens. It's really cool. And lots of little shops, breakfast places, seafood market, yoga studios, all kinds of stuff. So a big, diverse area in terms of different types of housing. On the left, we have Lincoln Elementary School. Lincoln Elementary School is one of 2 bilingual schools in the city of Corvallis. There's Lincoln Elementary School and Garfield Elementary School in North Corvallis. And so they teach, and they are rebuilding it or expanding it. They teach the curriculum there in English and in Spanish. Shout out to one of my clients and friends who actually moved here from Spain to be a 3rd grade teacher, if I recall correctly, at Lincoln. Very cool people. Off to the right behind some of these areas, you've got some neighborhoods with some condos and apartments. And what we're going to do is, as Southtown starts to feel like it ends, we're going to turn left onto Goodnight and go towards Willamette Park and go by a couple example neighborhoods there. And you will see ahead, it looks like town just kind of ends right around here. That being said, don't miss the Block 15 Brew Pub Southtown location, just a few minutes further down the road. They have some of my favorite nachos there. And also, Four Spirits Distillery has excellent beverages and a really good chicken salad. All right, so here we are getting into some Southtown neighborhoods. We've got manufactured homes. We've got some older starter homes and mid-range homes from the 50s and 60s. A client of mine has a house right over here, and we'll put that up on the screen for a moment. Just a nice little 3-bedroom, 1-bath ranch house, about 1,000 square feet. He did a beautiful job fixing that up. And we're just going to keep going straight ahead and just briefly swing by Willamette Park and then go by Willamette Landing to see an example neighborhood there. We're going to probably hit 5% of the neighborhoods in town today. I mean, we're just scratching the surface, but I just want to show you some examples so that when you read about them, hear about them, they mean something to you, and it's at least a good start. As we get into Willamette Park here on the left, you can see that there are community garden beds. My understanding is that you can reserve those and have your own garden bed there, which is also really cool. And this is a busy Sunday at Willamette Park because it is a beautiful day, it's warm out, and there's going to be a ton of people here, either on the disc golf course, because there's an 18-hole course, or on the banks of the river, floating the river down towards Micheal's Landing. There's also soccer fields here and picnic shelters to have barbecues in, and kids' playgrounds. This is just an outstanding large local park, one of many. And these parks all throughout Corvallis really help give the neighborhoods just a really cohesive feel. They help really define the areas. So, looks like there is probably a disc golf tournament off to the left. I saw a sign saying the disc golf course was closed. What we're going to do is we're just going to go up here, pull a quick loop, and then go right back out. That paved bike path and walking path that we saw in downtown, right along the river and First Street, also continues down here. It's the same path. Got a view of the river off to the right, and some people playing with their dogs on the fields there. Love it. One of the many things that I just adore about Corvallis is that it's so outdoorsy, and the weather is so mild that it doesn't stop people from playing outside essentially year-round. Obviously, no one's floating the river in February, but people will still be on the disc golf course 12 months a year, bicycling, bike commuting, hiking, walking, just throughout the year. Just about past this bumpy gravel road, back onto Goodnight Avenue. And I don't know if you can see it in the distance at this particular moment, but the large hill off in the distance is Mary's Peak, which is the tallest of the Coast Range. Coast Range hills are what Corvallis is nestled up against to the west, and that has an elevation of about 4,000 feet. Great place to just go for a hike, go for a drive up to the top, bring a picnic with you, and have a great afternoon. All right. As we turn on to Summerfield Drive here, you can see an example of some of the homes in Southtown that are, in this case, from about the 90s. So in these homes, you've got vaulted ceilings and owner suites and open concept floor plans. And I mention that because Corvallis doesn't have a lot of new construction, and I'm going to say new as a very loose term there. I'm going to say 90s and newer counts as newer construction. Corvallis is a slow growth community. So what that really means is that Corvallis, Little Philomath next door to the west, and Silverton far to the northeast, those three communities were grandfathered in for a long time, such that for new land to be annexed into the urban growth boundary, the public used to get to vote on that, and the public would historically say no. So you had a really tight urban growth boundary with very little development, very little sprawl, very little growth, which means that we have a lot of old houses and a very insulated real estate market because the neighborhoods are cohesive and cute and feel great, and there's therefore a lot of demand for them, but not a lot of supply because there's not a lot of new building. This is an example of very new building. We're actually driving through part of Willamette Landing right now. This is done by Legend Homes. Legend is a really high quality builder. Love working on their homes. Shout out to them. They do a great job. And this is phase 9, if I recall correctly, of Willamette Landing, this little strip right here. And we'll take just a quick jaunt through another part of Willamette Landing right here. So off to the right, you've got another park, because there's parks everywhere. Oregonians love green space. Off to the left, we have got some apartments that are for rent. and that is Mountain View Apartments. And then as we turn right here, what we're looking at off to the left are some of the row houses. They're kind of like townhouses, but they don't share a living wall. The garages share walls. And these are great 3-bed, 2.5 bath, let's say 1,600 square feet on average. Love these. And then, of course, larger freestanding single-family homes that get much bigger, up to 2,000 and 3,000 square feet off the top of my head, if I recall. This neighborhood, as you can probably tell, is a classic newer development. Willamette Landing has a homeowners association. There's an HOA, so there are community rules that are in place and are very much enforced. So you have to keep the house looking a certain way. You can't have, junk in the yard, stuff like that. And they are very good at enforcing those rules. There is also right ahead of us a recreation center, which is what I wanted to show off in this quick drive-by. There is a swimming pool as part of that recreation center, though we don't get a good view of it from here, as well as a little workout facility and just kind of party rooms that you can rent out. I've been to friends' birthday parties for their kids in there before, off to the right. So that's just going to give you a quick snippet, a little taste of Willamette Landing. Got some lovely newer homes here, done by Legend. And when we go into Southwest Corvallis and go by Grand Oaks, if I recall correctly, is done by Legend and Polish Builders and has a very similar feel, but with some more trees and rolling hills. All built in the, if I recall, year 2000 and newer. All right, we're gonna exit Willamette Landing here, and I really want to just drive in and out of all these little streets and show you all these different housing types, but then this video will be 3 hours long and the battery will have died an hour into it anyway. But I hope this is a helpful, just quick overview to show you some examples as we go. I really hope this is a great resource for you. Again, don't know if we can see it in the video, but that's Mary's Peak in front of us. The sleeping lady looks lying down there. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back on 99 north towards downtown. But before we get into downtown, we're going to take a shortcut towards Southwest Corvallis and go through some neighborhoods there too. Here we go. While we're driving, let's talk a little bit about why everyone loves living here and why when I move people out here, they often stay for a very long time. So I myself moved here from Gainesville, Florida. My wife and I were in Gainesville. I used to be a grad student at Florida, UF, and I was just looking for a smaller slice of a college town like that. Love the atmosphere of a college community, love the arts, culture, economic vitality, but Gainesville was just getting way too busy. I ended up looking at a bicycling magazine because I used to be a very serious amateur cyclist, and the cover story of this bicycling magazine had the cover story 21 cities to be a cyclist in Corvallis, in US. And I said, I am moving to one of these. And I took a trip out here and visited Corvallis, Eugene, Portland, and then Davis, California, with the intent of getting a teaching job in one of these communities to move here. I ended up landing a teaching job teaching in Corvallis at Sheldon Middle School science, and justified the move to come here, and I've been very happy ever since. What people really love about this, and what I really love about Corvallis, is one, the slow growth mentality. It keeps the sprawl down. There's not a lot of just neighborhoods popping up all over the place like there were in Florida. There's just concrete showing up everywhere there. And the mild climate is just so pleasant to be in year-round. We do have all 4 seasons here, but I don't even own a winter jacket anymore. It's just not that bad. It drizzles in the winter, and there are some gray skies. It's warm and sunny in the summer, and spring and fall are just beautiful and in between. So you get a little bit of everything, and you've got this just great downtown, very education-based community. It's a very strong university. This school system in Corvallis is top-notch. It's a top-rated school system, as we told you about in one of our other videos with some actual stats. And so there's a lot of people that move here to be university professors, to go to school, to be teachers in the Corvallis schools, because it's a dream district. And then a lot of people move here to raise their kids, very specifically in the Corvallis Public School District, because of the reputation it's got. And then there's a lot of folks that move here for the private sector too. There's a lot of natural science jobs. So we move a lot of like NuScale power, nuclear engineers in, a lot of Hewlett-Packard engineers, and a lot of medical folks. Good Samaritan Regional Medical Center and the Corvallis Clinic are excellent and very predominant here, and that's a big part of the multifaceted economic base is the hospital and healthcare system here. And because of all those things, arts, culture, economic vitality, volunteering opportunities, great healthcare, also move a lot of people here just to retire. They just want to live here to retire. And that's kind of a perfect storm for lots of reasons why people want to be here, but then also combined and going back to that slow growth mentality, which means there's not a lot of new development, not a lot of houses just popping up everywhere. So it's a competitive market, it's a seller's market. All right, we turned away from 99, and we are going to take a quick shortcut here through Avery Park in South Corvallis, instead of going all the way back up to downtown and then over into Southwest. So Avery Park is, again, one of many large public green spaces. There's a little nature center here. There's the train there, which is just stationary for kids to climb on. There's the dinosaur bones thing over there for kids to climb on. And there's lots of big covered tables and picnic shelters for having barbecues and client parties if you're a realtor like myself, and just get-togethers. And there's often people throwing a frisbee in the grass or playing soccer. Just a lovely area. In a moment, up and on the left, we've got the rose garden that's also part of Avery Park. We're a little bit past rose season, so I'm seeing mostly green and not tons of flowers there, but it is truly gorgeous, and roses grow phenomenally well in this part of Oregon. Oh, there's some flowers there. All right. We are meeting back up with Willamette Boulevard, also known as Highway 34 and even Highway 20, depending on where you are, because why give a street one name? As we stop at this intersection, downtown is 30 seconds to the right. The university is right there. In fact, as we go by, you'll see the track off to the right. And right here, we have got that paved bike path and walking path that also connected to downtown. This is the same path that we're crossing over parallel to, but removed from Highway 34. And Highway 34 is also called Willamette Boulevard because it's not all that much of a highway in this area. Oh, there we go. OSU student moving. That's why we had a car driving the wrong way on 3rd Street. I shouldn't pick on them. All right, so this is one of the busier spots in Corvallis, and this is just the shortcut in between downtown and Southwest Corvallis. If we keep going straight, if we actually punch out all the way through Southwest Corvallis, it gets quiet for just about 4 or 5 minutes, and then we're in Willamette, Oregon. Willamette is a small 5,000 person town. It's got a logging and timber history, also has great public schools. Benton County is very well funded for public education, so Willamette, Corvallis, and North Albany in particular. And if we keep going out of Willamette, then again, as I said before, about 45 minutes later after that, you end up simply in Newport, Oregon on the coast. So you got this great central location, which is actually what the word Corvallis stands for. Corvallis is heart of the valley, speaking to that central location. If we kept going straight, it would be just another 2 or 3 minutes before we hit that southwest Corvallis intersection. But what we're going to do is we're going to go up by the country club and then a little bit later hit that intersection. All right, let's do it. We're going to point south on Southwest 35th Street. This is going to take us by the 509J administrative offices, which is the Corvallis Public School District admin offices on the left. Right after these buildings, there is Adams Elementary School, which is a very sought-after public elementary school in Corvallis. Adams just has a particularly great reputation based on, I think, the public school test scores. And so I very frequently move families not just into Corvallis for the schools, but into specific neighborhoods because they want their kids in a certain school. It's a very common request. What we're going to do here is we're going to go up the hill, going by the country club. We might not get much of a view of the actual country club going up the hill, but what I want to show you are neighborhoods, not the golf course. So just know that the country club golf course is right up here on this hill. We're going to go up the hill and then come right back down and over. There are some really pretty neighborhoods all in this area in southwest Corvallis. As we drive up the hill, you're going to see some older homes from the, I think, 60s and 70s that have some particularly nice charm to them. Nothing's really cookie cutter up here. Immediately ahead of us, where that truck just pulled in, that is the country club entrance. And if you are a golfer, meaning ball golf, not disc golf, there's the Corvallis Country Club. There is Tristing Tree Golf Club right outside of downtown off Highway 34. And I think there's a little Mary's River Golf Course near Avery Park as well. There's some great streets just off to the side here that have some just beautiful homes on 1/4 to 1/3 of an acre lots. And on the other side of this hill, there is some new construction going up in the Wolverine Court area. Some of the homes that are up here towards the top of the hill do have lovely views. I've helped people buy the homes pretty much because of the view, and the home came second. So I mentioned that I moved to Oregon from Florida, and that is where I moved from at the time. I grew up in Connecticut, and what I love about the Mid-Valley here is that it feels kind of like Connecticut, but the seasons are milder. You know, we've got these beautiful rolling hills, we have lots of big trees. I would say it's even greener here, even in the wintertime, because there's a lot more evergreen. And it's just a very hospitable place to live. Nothing's trying to kill you. Just make sure you've got an earthquake safety kit sitting in the garage and you're pretty much good to go. So we're now on DeArmond, and DeArmond flanks the country club. There's golf courses off to the right, or I should say golf holes off to the right. And this is just a great example of a country club hill neighborhood. I've helped a couple of clients buy and sell right up here. And a lot of these homes also have large lots. Large lots by Corvallis standards would be like 1/4 to 1/3 of an acre. Off to the left, which isn't the direction we're going at the moment, but maybe we can throw up some B-roll there, is Brook Lane, and there are some incredible homes on acreage this close to downtown Corvallis right there. There's homes on 1 and 2 acres right there, which is a really neat opportunity. And there we go, you got some golf course over there. This particular spot, you've got some much newer homes on Titleist Circle and Agate Drive, right by the golf course. Beautiful spot. From here, we're going to reconnect with Country Club Drive and go west by what I'll call the Lower Country Club neighborhoods, and then towards Grand Oaks in southwest Corvallis. Starker Arts Park is right up ahead of us. There's a little amphitheater. I've seen my local favorite folk band, the Crescendo Show, play there before. And there's also, again, that paved biking and walking path and some softball fields around these neighborhoods. Just a great spot. On the left, we're approaching the entrance sign for Stony Brook Retirement Village. Stony Brook is a very sought-after community where you've got various gradations, various levels of assisted living. And off to the right, we've got what I'll call the Lower Country Club area as well, because we're on Country Club Road again right now. I don't recall the exact name for this neighborhood, but there's some great starter homes and mid-range homes from the 90s there. And then just north of those, apartments, and just north of those, you've got some shopping, Safeway and Bi-Mart. This neighborhood looks pretty similar to another hit neighborhood that we're just gonna go through right here. And so we're now connecting with Southwest 53rd Street in Corvallis. Southwest 53rd Street and Philomath Boulevard, just a stone's throw north of here, really make that pardon me, this is a Corvallis traffic jam. All right, let's do it. Southwest 53rd Street and Philomath Boulevard really make that southwest corner of town intersection on the map. Obviously, there are some neighborhoods, away from that, but it looks like it's the southwest corner of town. This is also by Legend Homes. That's Russell Gardens, some brand new construction, and you can see just how quiet this is. And Philomath is just a few minutes up the road. What we're going to do is we're going to hop into Barley Hill, or rather just drive through really quickly Barley Hill to show you an example Lower Country Club neighborhood. This is a cute neighborhood, and it has mostly mid-90s homes. There is no homeowners association, so it's not quite as polished as like a Legend Homes development would be, but it's one of the fewer neighborhoods in town where you can get 90s and newer floor plans. We've got a lot of clients and friends that live in this neighborhood and in the surrounding areas too. And right now we are about 8 minutes maximum to downtown Corvallis. It's just a quick shot over on Philomath Boulevard. Legend of Russell Gardens off to the right is still building right now, as you may have been able to see as we drove by. And so there are some brand new homes and townhomes popping up there that'll probably be for sale for the next year or so. All right, you got Safeway, grocery store, Bi-Mart, Dutch Brothers Coffee. Pacific Northwest people love coffee and beer. We really like to drink beverages depending on the time of day, different ones, but very big into beverages here. Amazing wineries and brew pubs in this area if you're into all that good stuff. All right, this is that intersection. Downtown is maybe 6 minutes that way, and we are on Southwest 53rd and Philomath Boulevard. Willamette is about 5 minutes that way. We are pointed north. We're going to go through this intersection and stop by Grand Oaks next. Grand Oaks is a development from about the year 2000 that I mentioned earlier, kind of similar to Legend's Willamette Landing in Southtown, only this is Legend and Polish in southwest Corvallis. A little bit hillier, a little more trees, great development, a lot of pride and ownership. This is where we take my niece trick-or-treating for Halloween. All right. That paved bike path that connects to downtown has snaked around and is now on our left, going all the way north on 53rd Street. What you're going to see in this area is that it feels really quiet. We've got a lot of farm fields, some of which are owned by Oregon State University for agricultural research, because OSU is the land grants institution, so there's a lot of ag science. And it just feels very quiet, but we're still maybe 8 or 10 minutes from downtown at this point. We're still really close to everything. We actually just passed one of my rental properties. I have a duplex right off of 53rd, and it's next to a farm field. And my tenants always say, oh my gosh, we love living here because it's so close to the university. And it's right over here. It feels like this. It feels like a farm field. These are friends of mine. Great people, very active in 4-H, which is another really cool thing in this area. You can get your kids, I think once they're in kindergarten or first grade, doing agricultural projects and raising guinea pigs and learning a lot, which is really cool. One of the many assisted living facilities was off to our right there, and we're going to go check out Grand Oaks now. We're going to go in the second entrance and then come back out here and keep on going. Grand Oaks is one of the many neighborhoods because this whole area feeds into Adams Elementary, so that elementary school that we drove by in southwest Corvallis near the country club. And that's, again, one of the sought-after elementary schools, which is one of the many reasons that I help people often relocate to this neighborhood in particular. All right, Grand Oaks. To the left, you've got apartments for rent. To the right, at this spot, you've got these row houses. They're not exactly townhouses, but they have trellises that connect them. And they're a little bit smaller, 3-bed, 2.5 bath, about 1,600 square feet. And then as we go into the rest of the neighborhood, we've got larger freestanding single-family homes. And to the left again here, we have condos that are individually owned that look like a fancier version of the Grand Oaks apartments. Both of these, the condos and the apartments, are a great place to land if you're coming here and just looking for a rental so that you can get situated before we go house hunting. We lean on them a lot. The condos just hit the rental market on Craigslist, and the apartments, of course, have an on-site manager. So this is Grand Oaks. Beautiful homes. You got some good square footage, good size homes. They tend to have very small yards, but some of them are incredible. Client and friend of mine has a gorgeous terraced yard right over here on Quiet Creek. I could not believe how beautiful they had made it when I saw pictures recently. And this is just a great area to go for a walk. That's another nice thing about all these neighborhoods. It's just so easy to put on a hat and some sunglasses and go for a walk. There's parks nearby. Actually, on this spot, right adjacent to us here, there's a Christmas tree farm with walking paths through the trees. I just love living in Oregon. Grand Oaks is another neighborhood that does have a homeowners association. So there is an HOA here. There's an HOA fee monthly. That fee is different depending on the type of housing that you're living in. But you also do get a recreation center, which we'll drive by in just a moment to the right. The recreation center, just like Willamette Landing, has a swimming pool and I think some fitness stations and a room that you can rent out and hang out in. And that's what we're looking at to the right. I have so many fond memories of living near here when we were fixing up our first rental and taking our niece trick-or-treating through this neighborhood. I just love it. We're gonna exit the neighborhood in a moment, go a little bit further north on Southwest 53rd Street, pass by the Benton County Fairgrounds, because they are right here in Southwest Corvallis, and then we will go back towards downtown, but just for a moment, and pick up with our next neighborhood, which is going to be College Hill. At that point, we'll be getting into Northwest Corvallis, and we will be seeing College Hill, a little bit of Witham Hill, a little bit of Timberhill, and then go up by the hospital before hitting a little bit of Northeast Corvallis and heading back to downtown. All right, we're back on Southwest 53rd Street. We're pointed north. We've got that bike path right next to us. Grand Oaks is just off to the left. In between us and Grand Oaks, you've got some 50s and 60s homes, a lot of ranch-style homes, and this little tiny piece of I shouldn't say brand new construction, but very new construction right up here on Touchstone, which is right by these railroad tracks. And we're gonna go under, and then we pass by one of the many veterinarian offices. Oh my gosh, people love their animals here. We've got a bunch of animals too. A lot of great veterinary care. This is West Hills Animal Hospital because OSU has a great veterinary science and, again, land-grant institution, a lot of agriculture research. This is the Benton County Fairgrounds off to the left. Benton County Fairgrounds, in my time in Oregon, have been a great place to go to beer festivals when they held them there. They're in different spots now. The winter public farmers market, Wednesday night winter archery shoots, just all sorts of fun random events. It's a great venue. And of course, the fair in the summertime. Oregon had some pretty fierce wildfires in the past couple of weeks, probably still does have some going on. We were safe in this area, but it was a little nerve-wracking because there was a lot of smoke, and so you're going to see some signs for people to be able to shelter in the fairgrounds too. All right, if we keep going straight on 53rd, in just a few minutes, the road turns, they change the name to Walnut Boulevard, and there's houses again. If we go left here, which we're not, we go into the West Hills area on Oak Creek, and there's some great neighborhoods in the hills. In a separate video, we'll have to do like an expansion pack to this main tour and show you some more of those example neighborhoods. But now we are pointed east on Harrison. Harrison, you might recall, is the bridge that goes into downtown, and it's one way in different spots. So it looks very quiet here. We've got some OSU farm fields, dairy facilities, chickens, grass, I think, and sheeps. And off in the distance, you might not be able to see it on the cam, but you can actually see the stadium from here. So campus is just right over there. What I like about driving in this direction is that this really does a nice job of illustrating just how close we are to the main part of town. Feels very quiet right there, very rural, and then all of a sudden, poof, the houses start right up here. And what we're going to do is go into College Hill from this spot. So right about here, houses again. And we're just right back in town, basically. Okay. We're going to take a quick little squiggle through part of College Hill. Again, just to give you an example of some of these spots. So College Hill, I'm going to use that term very loosely. There's no sign that says welcome to College Hill. But this whole area, kind of right around Harrison, just north of the university, is what I refer to as College Hill, hopefully correctly. You've got a lot of different housing types. As you can see as we drive by here, you've got some pretty old 1930s, some 1940s homes. You've got some pretty cool architecture, some peaky roof lines, some swooping entryways. Some of these homes have basements, so they're a lot bigger than they look like. No, having a basement in this area is probably not a good idea. We have a very high water table, but here we are. And then we've also got some 70s ranches and some 60s, give or take, really small starter homes too. So depending on the part of College Hill that we're in, it's almost like we've got kind of a micro neighborhood feel is how I would describe it. And we're going through here really quickly for the sake of the battery and the length of the video. But there's a lot of areas that feel like, okay, there's a lot of college rentals here, and there's a lot of cars, and there's a lot of areas that feel like, oh, these are all owner occupied, and they show even better and have fewer cars in them. This is a very easy, quick bike ride just south towards the university. And I think that this was called College Hill because a lot of professors used to live in this area too. Probably still do. We're going to connect with Northwest Grant Avenue up ahead. We are now in the northwest part of this town. Northwest part of this tour of town. And Northwest Grant Avenue is also a main east-west artery, and the north location of the First Alternative Foods Co-op that we saw in Southtown is right over there. It's just a stone's throw off to the right, but we're going to go up to Witham Hill from here. If you're one of my corporate relocation clients and you're checking out this tour with the rest of your family after you were here with me, you'll probably notice that we spent even more time in some of these neighborhoods than I'm doing at the moment. But again, just really hope this is a good resource for you. All right. One of the things that I love about this part of Northwest Corvallis is that we're getting into the foothills of the Coast Range. So Corvallis is in the Willamette Valley, so valley obviously implies that we're in between two ranges, Coast Range to the west and the Cascade Range a little further away off to the east. The Cascades are the big mountains. The volcanoes are in the Cascade Range. So like Mount Adams, Mount Baker, Mount Hood. In Washington State, same range, has Mount St. Helens. And the Coast Range is just big hills. And we're here in the Coast Range. There are some apartments up here off to the left. There's Witham Hill Oaks, for example. And I've had some folks live in these apartments and say that they're just a little bit further away from campus to have like more young professionals and grad students than just lots of undergrads, for example. And I think these are pet friendly, which is one of the draws to them. If you need help finding an apartment and you have special needs like pet friendly or just requests in general, obviously give me a buzz. Let me know what I can do to be a resource for you. All right, we're going to do just a quick jaunt through part of Witham Hill. Witham Hill is a development from the 70s, 80s, and some of these homes are from the 90s. You'll see a lot of these little library boxes like we just passed off to the right. Just little community libraries, which is really cool. It's like have a book, give a book, need a book, take a book. And we've got rolling hills, quarter to third acre lots here, and homes that aren't cookie cutter. There's a lot of personality to these. They don't all feel the same because it's not a newer development. You'll see a lot of like velociraptor height deer fences because we have a couple of local gangs in this area. There's the deer and the turkeys, and the deer will eat your plants while you watch. What a lot of my clients really love about living in Witham Hill is just the feel of all these big trees and the rolling hills, and just how easy it is to access the other main roads outside of the neighborhood. Super easy to just hit Circle Boulevard or Walnut Boulevard and go to the rest of town. Right. At this particular moment, if I recall correctly, we are on Northwest Estaview. I should know that because I helped folks buy and sell that home off to the right. But right down the hill, or rather just down the hill to the left, is Hoover Elementary School. And we'll pass by Hoover Elementary on Walnut Boulevard. Hoover Elementary is kind of like Adams Elementary, which is in Southwest Corvallis, in that I move a lot of people into this neighborhood and Timberhill that specifically want their kids going to Hoover Elementary. There is a small HOA for some of this neighborhood because of that swimming pool that no one seems to ever be using, but it's minimal and it's just a small annual fee, not a monthly fee. As we drive through this neighborhood, you might be thinking about snow in the wintertime. We tend not to get snow here. It will happen, maybe once or twice during the winter, but it doesn't last that long. And the funny thing about that is because we don't get it very frequently, Corvallis is not really prepared for it. They do not do a good job of, putting sand down, salt down, and paving all the neighborhoods. They're really only equipped to be able to handle the main roads. So when we do have snowstorms here, if you're watching this video, it's probably because you're coming from out of state. You might know how to drive in the snow, but most of the people here, they don't. So you gotta keep that in mind. You probably don't want to be on the roads, and it's a great opportunity to just work from home. Hey, look at the turkeys, turkey gang off to the right. You will see that people often have snow tires in the wintertime, especially if they go to the Cascade Range and Bend in the winter to go skiing, for example. And you'll also sometimes when you're downtown in Corvallis hear because people have studded tires, especially if they live in the hills, just because it can get icy. But we don't have all that much in the way of snow around here. All right, we have found ourselves having now exited Witham Hill, or at least an example part of it, and we are heading north on 29th Street, and we're about to go into Timberhill. In Timberhill, what we're going to do is we're going to go up the hill and then back down the hill, and as we go up the hill, we're going to see a bunch of the newer stuff in Timberhill, the newer phases, And then as we exit the neighborhood, we'll go out through part of the older area where there's some 70s and 80s homes. And that will take us right by Hoover Elementary School. Up on the right is Timberhill Meadows Apartments, which is another place that's fairly new for this area. I think it was built maybe 5 or 6 years ago. So that's a really good place to land if you need a rental too. And I think they do 6-month leases, which can also be helpful. We've got the Timberhill Athletic Club in front of us. Timberhill Athletic Club is a private athletic club that's got great facilities. There's this indoor tennis area. There is racquetball and pickleball, basketball courts, weightlifting, dance classes, swimming pools, physical therapy, just great facilities there. We love that place. Can't wait to be really going back there and getting back into good shape. We're going to exit the neighborhood right here on Arrowwood, but what we'll do first is we'll just go up the hill. As we do so, off to the right in just a moment, you're going to see that there's a bunch of townhomes, and these townhomes are individually owned. They tend to be, I think, 1,800 square feet with 2-car garages in the back, 3 and 4 bedrooms, and they pop up on Craigslist on occasion as rentals and are also great places to land if you need a rental, if they happen to be available. This is a gorgeous neighborhood, and it's really close to Walnut Boulevard, which we just crossed over to get into it. And as we go up the hill, we're surrounded by freestanding single-family homes right after those townhomes that get fairly upscale, I would say, pretty quickly. These are not your median, starter homes in Corvallis. There's some really nice homes here. Okay, there's usually cars parked here because people go for hikes in the Timberhill natural area. If I recall correctly, this connects over to Chip Ross Park on the other side, and this is a dead end, and I know that, so please don't make fun of my driving here. We're going to turn around, and that way on the way back for just a moment, we can get a view of Mary's Peak. It's a perfect day for this. I'll drive nice and slow, and we might throw some B-roll up there too to just make the point. But we've got a really nice view of the valley as we go back down the hill here. Mary's Peak off to the right, again the highest of the Coast Range at about 4,000 feet elevation. From here it'll probably take 45 minutes to an hour to drive to the top of Mary's Peak. And that is just kind of on the way but over if you were going towards Newport. And then on a really clear day, off in the distance, you can see the snow-capped peaks of the Cascade Range. I don't see any today. I think with the haze left over from the fires in Oregon, we are having those peaks be fairly obscured at this point. All right, we will exit through part of the older part of Timberhill. So this is just one of the many phases that are referred to as Timberhill neighborhoods. And this will just show you some example 70s and 80s homes. There's a lot of single story, a lot of ranches, and some 2-story homes here as well. There's walking paths and green space that traverse in and out of these neighborhoods. It's a great spot It's walking distance to Hoover Elementary, which is right there, as we'll pass by in a moment. And there's a lot of pride and ownership here, as you can see. In fact, there's a lot of pride and ownership in a lot of these neighborhoods because people work really hard to buy a house in Corvallis and tends to be really proud of being here and being a part of the community. Hoover Elementary is right there off of Aspen. We're going to circle around to it in a moment. It looks like we just couldn't have picked a better day to do this tour. You've got people biking, walking their dogs. It's just beautiful. Sunset Commons, off to the left, offers 55 plus retirement homes. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure if there's any kind of assisted living built into that, but I do know that it's like a retirement area specifically. Off to the right, you can see that there are some zero lot lines. So these look like fourplexes, but they're individually owned. And a lot of these are used as rentals, or they're just great like first-time starter homes. And so this is a great opportunity, or great example opportunity of places that some of our out-of-state clients end up renting. All right, and there is Hoover Elementary School right there on Walnut Boulevard. The trees going up the hill behind it are Witham Hill. We literally drove by there when we were on Estaview, and there are walking paths connecting those houses and that part of the neighborhood down to Hoover Elementary. Hoover, again, one of those really sought-after public elementary schools in Corvallis. And as we drive by, it looks like they are completely rebuilding it and doing major construction right now. Public service announcement. This is not a school day, so I'm driving normally, but Corvallis is such a safe place to live. And so I mean this in a good way. It seems to me like the police can sometimes get bored. And really they're spending a lot of their time enforcing some pretty fundamental basic things, making sure people don't speed through school zones, drive intoxicated, or block those intersections during the Corvallis traffic jam at the end of the day. So just always be sure on school days to slow down and slow way down to like 20 miles per hour and keep our kids safe and make sure that you don't end up in the Benton County Courthouse. Timberhill is off to our left. We are now passing back over Northwest 29th Street, which is how we entered that neighborhood in the first place. There's those Timberhill Meadows apartments. Off to the right here, we have the Timberhill Shopping Center, and you've got Winco 24/7 groceries there, a Starbucks, some restaurants, hobby shop, bunch of stuff like that. Pet supplies. So this is a good opportunity to bring up the fact that in Corvallis, we don't actually have much in the way of big box stores. You know, we've got a lot of commercial, we've got a lot of places to go shopping, but not big stuff. all of your shopping in Corvallis is going to be in areas like downtown, in strip malls like that, or on 9th Street, which is where we'll finish the tour on the way back to downtown. Off to the right here, we've got, in between Walnut Boulevard and Circle Boulevard, lots of 1950s and 1960s Harmon-built homes. Harmon was a big builder in the area, and there's a lot of variation there, but the average one is, let's say, 3 beds, 1.5 baths, maybe 1,200 square feet. The nice thing about these Harmon homes is that they're really accessible, they're great price points for Corvallis standards, and they tend to have large lots, 1/5 of an acre to 1/4 of an acre, so big backyards. We're not driving by those at the moment, but we will drive by some, for example, in northeast Corvallis in just a few minutes. Highland Boulevard, where we stopped just now, if we go up the hill, down the hill, left on Highland, north right out of town, we would see the second of the Corvallis public high schools there. There's one Corvallis public high school, which is Corvallis High School in kind of downtown area Corvallis, and the other one is out there in the middle of the grass fields. Both are top-notch public schools. Bit of a rivalry going on there, as is always the case, but great quality education either way, as far as I'm concerned, as a former Corvallis public school teacher. All right, we're east on Walnut right now. Before we hit 9th Street, I'm going to take us on one more jog here to go by some neighborhoods while we're still in northwest Corvallis. And so we're about to go by Wilson Elementary School, and I think they're actually changing the name of Wilson Elementary to be something else, but this is another northwest Corvallis Elementary School, and we're right up near the hospital. The hospital is right up at the top of this hill on Satinwood, and so we're just going to see a couple of neighborhoods really quick as we drive by here. Really nice playground there. Okay, so off to the right, there's some Harmon-built homes and homes that are very similar, smaller ranch-style homes. But again, we're going to see those. Okay. But again, we are going to see those in northeast Corvallis. So what I want to do is take us off this way and go by some of the 70s homes. Right up here by the hospital, we've got a lot of ranches and a lot of split levels and tri-levels. This is a really pretty neighborhood with very easy access to Walnut Boulevard and 9th Street for shopping. Really close to everything, really close to the hospital. Some gently rolling hills here, and just some lovely homes. I've had a number of clients live in these homes. Some of them have big backyards, some of them have shops even in the back there, and it's just a really pretty neighborhood. And you can see, just because of how these are built into the hillside, that again there's a lot of split levels and tri-levels. Is tri-levels a word? Am I using that properly? We'll find out later. As we get to the end of the hill right here, there is actually a newer development from the past 6 or 7 years, something like that. And we can see that now. And that's, I forget the name of it, but it's like Coronado and Aztec and Mirador Place. And there's some good size newer homes there with a small playground in that particular neighborhood as well. Okay, we're going to go up by the hospital now. So this is Samaritan Regional Medical Center and the Corvallis Clinic. They're right next to each other up here. They might be affiliated. I'm not really sure off the top of my head, but this is Elks Drive, Northwest Elks Drive. And if you're watching this video, it's probably because you're coming from out of state. So I always like to point out that the ENT, ear, nose, throat, and allergy clinic is right in here in the Corvallis Clinic Asbury building. We have a lot of grass pollen here, and people sneeze a lot, and allergy shots there work wonderfully. We're surrounded by medical here. There's assisted living, surgery offices, oncology. There is the emergency room over there. In the distance on a clear day, we could see snow-capped peaks. Can't quite see them at the moment, though. And of course, we have some more assisted living here, if I didn't mention that as well. A lot of great medical care in this town. right, so that's going to wrap up Northwest Corvallis for us. As we get to the stop sign here, we are passing by the tip top of 9th Street where all the shopping is. We'll reconnect with that in a little bit. And we are going to actually turn back into town on Highway 99. And if we went left, if you look left, which you probably can't see out of my cam here, there's nothing. There's farm fields, blueberry fields, stuff like that. There are actually lots of neighborhoods in the hills, the Mountain View and Lewisburg area, but in the interest of time, we're not going to be including that on this tour. If you want, let us know, and we'll do some supplemental videos as well. But it looks like town kind of ends right about here, even though there are some neighborhoods up there, of course. So this is 99 West, which is also known as 3rd and 4th Street. We'll come back out this way in just a few minutes and then take 9th Street parallel to it as we get back into downtown. But first I want to take a quick jaunt into Northeast Corvallis for just a few minutes and show you a little bit of that as well. Here we go. Okay, so Northeast Corvallis is really small compared to Northwest Corvallis. On the left here, we've got Conifer Place Apartments, which is a very well run, a little bit older, maybe 1980s apartment complex that's been very nicely updated. Great on-site managers. I lived there myself for a couple years at the beginning of my Oregon adventure. And some other rentals around us too. There are a bunch of duplexes here. So my investor clients really enjoy owning multifamily, as do I, in this community. College town's great to have rentals in. And off to the left up here, we have got Creedmoor Townhomes. Creedmoor Townhomes is Powderhorn Drive and a couple other streets. And there's some really good prices on mostly 2-bedroom townhomes there. Northeast Corvallis has a special place in my heart because I first moved here into those apartments that are right behind us and was a teacher at Sheldon Middle School, which is going to be right ahead of us. Jackson Fraser wetlands are a beautiful place to go for a walk, and they are just off to the left there. And what we're going to see here is, and we'll just do a quick jaunt, but there are a lot of Harmon-built homes, a lot of 1950s and 60s homes. And there's also some 1990s homes on the other side of the railroad tracks here. But I'm going to take us here. We got Village Green Park on the right, Sheldon Middle School on the right now. And what we're driving through here are some of those Harmon homes. So these are, again, small ranches. They start at about 950 square feet, go up to 12, sometimes 1,400 square feet. Usually 3 beds, 1.5 baths on average, with big lots, big backyards, up to 1/4 of an acre. All of these tend to have their own spin put on them. It's very recognizable once you get used to Harmon homes. You know, as soon as you step into one, you can be like, oh, I'm in a Harmon home right now. But there's often just some little tweaks, you know, different features in the layout, sometimes additions off to the back, you know, owner's suites added on, stuff like that. Going into this neighborhood will give you an even better feel. You can see up ahead that there are some solar panels on that particular home. You don't see a lot of solar in this area, but it is actually viable, and we're starting to see more and more of it as time goes by. I don't think I talked much about gardening earlier. I do not have a green thumb, but you don't have to grow plants and vegetables here, because you basically just have to plant things and not intentionally kill them for them to grow. If I recall correctly, we are the same grow zone on the back of like a seed packet as the panhandle of Florida. So roses grow beautifully, really well here. Roses, apples, I think they're in the same family. azaleas, rhododendrons, tomatoes, strawberries, cucumbers, all sorts of fruits and vegetables. A lot of people garden in their front or backyards living in the Mid-Valley in Oregon. Okay, in the interest of time, that's all we're going to include for now from Northeast Corvallis. And we're going to get ourselves pointed back towards downtown. There are some lovely neighborhoods in here, mostly ranch-style homes from the 50s and 60s. Some of those newer homes that are on the other side of the railroad tracks, on the other side of the school, 90s get a little bit bigger, and a lot of apartments. There's also a really great manufactured home park. We're driving by Meadow Park at the moment, which is why I was thinking of that. Meadow Park is a manufactured home park that's 55 plus, so not all of my clients can live there, but some have. And there's a great one just on the other side here too, called North Star, even though I always call it Jack London because that's the name of the street. And that one just happens to be a particular favorite among my clients. It seems to be very well managed, and it's all ages with a nice little playground. I have a number of clients and friends living there right now. All right, if we wanted to take the fast track, the shortcut back to downtown, we would simply turn left here, hop right onto 99 West. A few minutes later, we would be right back in downtown. For the sake of this video, we're gonna go down 9th Street, which has a lot of retail and commercial shoppings, grocery stores, stuff like that. All right, so we are now pointed south on 9th Street, and we're gonna go all the way down until we basically get to downtown. The hospital is right there off to our right and behind us. And here is Walnut Boulevard, where if we hadn't taken the jaunt by the hospital, we would have popped right back out here a few minutes earlier. So we're crossing over Walnut, and Walnut on the map looks kind of like it's the top of town, even though there's plenty of neighborhoods in the Northwest Hills. And in just a moment, we'll cross over the next main intersection, which is Circle Boulevard, kind of a misnomer because it's pretty much a straight line. But you're gonna see like Starbucks, Subway, Togo's sandwiches, my friend's Rock and Gem Shop, which is a really cool place, you gotta check them out. Burgerville gets a lot of acclaim, great milkshakes there. A lot of coffee shops, coffee culture, fast food. The bowling alley where we have our spring client parties. And here we are now approaching Circle Boulevard. If we go left on Circle, if we go east on Circle for just a moment, we're gonna see another Bi-Mart, which we also saw in Southwest Corvallis, kind of like a mini dry goods store, like a mini Costco. The actual Costco's in Albany. And then we'd see like Home Depot, another Safeway grocery store, movie theaters, and the Hewlett-Packard and NewScale offices are right over there, just a stone's throw from here. On the right, we've got a Rite Aid and Market of Choice. If you're from out of town, Market of Choice is kind of like a Whole Foods or a Fresh Market. I have a number of local credit unions. Here's the Oregon State Credit Union. Some great Chinese food at the show. In here, there's a Office Max and a conveyor belt fast food sushi place and a really great ramen shop as well. Sugyo Sushi, and AI Ramen. Gotta check those places out too. Grocery Outlet is like a scratch and dent grocery store. There's additional movie theaters right over here behind the China Buffet. I shouldn't say movie theaters, another one. And Bed Bath & Beyond, where you can get home goods, obviously, if you're just moving to the area. El Sol de Mexico is an excellent local Mexican restaurant. Love that place. Great margaritas and wonderful fajitas. So as you can see, 9th Street, think shopping. On the right here, we have got a Trader Joe's, a Pastini's pasta restaurant, TJ Maxx, Ulta, Michael's craft store, Jamba Juice, stuff like that. There's a Play It Again Sports up here, so that is a wonderful place to go get discs for the disc golf courses, right by Chateau Home Furnishings. Go check out that place and say hi to Ed. There's a little bit of new commercial development up here on the left. It looks like there's phone stores, pizza places, desserts, and then we've got Goodwill. Goodwill, College Town. Goodwill's got a lot of furniture, as does the ARC Resale Center right across from it. And Sherry's Cafe is kind of like a Denny's if you're from the East Coast like me. So just think, kind of like a Greasy Spoon place. It's open 24/7, free pie Wednesdays with your entree. Great little place there. Corvallis High School is off to our right, off of Buchanan Avenue right here. If you're into sewing, the Corvallis Sewing and Vacuum Center is actually an amazing place. I've never encountered such knowledgeable salespeople about sewing machines and vacuums. You got to check that place out. Samaritan Square off to the left is home to some offices, including SamFit, which is a fitness club that is affiliated, I guess, with Samaritan, the hospital, and it's getting rave reviews. And Lynn Benton Community College, LBCC, the main office is right in there as well. At this spot, you'll notice that the bike lanes disappear and 9th Street transitions to be back to feeling like it's residential as opposed to commercial behind us. And we are now getting back into downtown. So this is Harrison Boulevard, and Harrison again is the 2-lane bridge coming into downtown from the direction of I-5, and then campus is over there, and we are going to go just 1 block further south, hit Van Buren, and take that back over into downtown. Campus is right there, downtown's right there, everything's really compact, which is another great thing about this community. It only takes 15 or 20 minutes usually to get from corner to corner. All right, we're now on Van Buren. Ahead of us, if this were a weekday at this time, would be the Corvallis traffic jam. And we'd be seeing everyone jockeying for position to get into that center lane to all merge together and go over the bridge. This is a Sunday afternoon in September, so there is no traffic whatsoever. But even as I describe the Corvallis traffic jam, please know that that is kind of in jest because there is barely any traffic here. That being said, keep in mind that the police are kind of bored and they are looking for people breaking traffic violations, breaking rules and blocking all these intersections, moving forward when there's not actually a place to go. So watch for that and be a great, courteous driver. Otherwise, they will pull you over. The motorcycle cops are really great at hiding in the bushes and they're excellent at what they do. All right, I'm gonna head back to the office from here. We'll take 2nd Street back. So we're just right back in downtown. This is right around where we started our tour. Folks, I really hope that this has been a beneficial resource for you. If you'd like driving tours of other neighborhoods considerably more in-depth than this quick overview, let us know and we'd be happy to put that together. But if you're coming here from out of town and you just want to get started and see if you should even be making this move, I hope this helps. We've got a fantastic community here. I absolutely love living here, so it's easy for me to just kind of sell you on Corvallis and the surrounding Mid-Valley community. It's just a wonderful place to live, great place to raise a family. It's very safe, it's very friendly, very well educated, and there's just a lot of outdoorsy stuff to do and support for local businesses. So do hit us up and let us know if we can be a resource for you. Again, I'm Micheal Krasilovsky, and my business is called Team K Realty, and I run that out of Remax Integrity in Corvallis, Oregon.